There are over 7 billion people inhabiting our planet. This means there are over 7 billion different experiences occurring in each moment. With each experience, we create our own unique story. Oftentimes, the very stories we create can seem to separate us. But are we that different? The same stories that separate us can be the glue that binds us together. I'm Paul E. Hendricks, an author searching for more human connection. Welcome to The Bridge. Sumoha Jani was born and raised in the Lone Star State of Texas. After college, she signed up with Teach for America and headed to Hawaii, teaching at a school in Waianae on the west side of Oahu. That's where she learned that oftentimes, students can be the best teachers. Each episode of The Bridge is centered on a thought-provoking theme. In this story, we explore triumph through adversity.
In teaching, I have remembered more and more of my childhood and the reasons why I used to get up and the adversity that I faced as a child. And it was interesting because I grew up in Texas, Houston, Texas, in a very white school. That's why I love Hawaii, because I'm like part of the majority here. And I have friends who are Hawai'i, and they're like, oh, it sucks. Like, people treat me so differently. And I'm like, I love it. Why do you think I'm here? And hi, welcome to my life. Now you know what it feels like, right? But in Texas, it was like very obviously pointed out to me when I was in third grade that I was brown. Because I didn't know that. And it was like, oh, like I am different. Oh, my hair is different, and I look different, and I come from a different background, and like people would say things like, yeah, you know, like what you're dressed like is different, and I would get bullied, and I would get made fun of, and people would throw, you know, like kids would throw rocks at me, and I was that kid that went in during detention when it didn't have detention so that I wouldn't have to go out to recess. Like, what child gives up recess? Yeah, that was me, because that's how awful it was when I was outside. And these are memories that I had not remembered necessarily, and not to the degree that I remember them now. And it's in teaching and in being around students and then like seeing their super visceral experience, and I'm like, holy shit, like I'm feeling that. You know, I'm feeling what you're feeling because I've been there.
So Sumoha, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas.
Well, it's actually Clear Lake City, which is south of Houston, but it's still in the Houston city limits or whatever.
You don't look like a girl from Texas to me.
I know. It's because when I say y'all, then all of a sudden folks are like, where are you from?
But your family now is relocated to San Jose?
Yep, San Jose.
Senior year of college, and all about like going out and making a difference in the world. Like, I'm gonna make a difference. I know I'm here to make a difference. I don't know what that difference is, but I feel it all the time. I love talking about making a difference. I was at that point where I had no idea where I was gonna end up, and I got recruited. And I got recruited by a program called Teach for America. And Teach for America is similar to the Peace Corps or similar to AmeriCorps, where they send teachers into under-resourced areas where schools are just kind of hitting rock bottom in a number of ways. It's nothing different. It's always been there. And I went out to Waianae, intermediate, and those 2 years have been the most significant years, I would say, in my life in terms of bringing me back to me and changing my trajectory in terms of how I was thinking and who I am and who I'm becoming, because I'm still in the process of becoming.
It's challenging when I chose to go teach in a school in an area, in a neighborhood where it's nothing like the schools that I grew up with. You know, I grew up with very privileged schools, and I recognize that like as soon as I got to the schools that I was teaching in. It's the challenge of questioning myself, like, am I doing enough? It's figuring out how to get the students involved, and the students are coming from these incredibly challenging walks of life. You know, like when you think about the environment that the students are coming from, some of them are coming from living on the beach. Some of them are coming from, there's 13 of us in a 2-bedroom house. Some of them are coming from, okay, we have our family and we do our thing and this is my home and that's great. Or, kids who are in the foster system.
My students for 2 years, 7th and 8th grade, taught me more about what it means to move on in the face of tough shit than ever before. And it's a really nice, eye-opening kind of thing in terms of, well, I want you to learn and you want to learn, but we have this stuff that's happening at home. And there's been this belief that their kids, especially all young people, that if they're faced with adversity, like it's really terrible and it's really bad. And I think that I guess I just have to disagree with that, basically, because the students, regardless of the adversity that they were facing, and yes, it did mess up their days a lot of the time, it brought forth such a big reason for them to want to do something different. And they were at a place where we didn't know how. And there are days when I still don't know how. Because I'm like, I don't know how to teach you English, and you're 14 years old, and you just came from Micronesia. Like, wow. I really don't know how to solve that. Okay? And there are a lot of resources and people, I think, that are needed to bring the skill level forth. But there's a real sense of triumph in just connecting, sitting down and like looking at a young person. I love working with young people and being like, I know that you want something different. And I'm going to do what I can do in the power that I have to provide it for you.
I remember this distinct moment. I'm teaching 7th grade. It's my first year of teaching. I'm in my classroom and I have no air conditioning, and it's like the hottest part of Oahu. And so it's about a good 95, 96 degrees outside, and there's no air. I have like 2 fans going. And my room has this little like layer of red dust on it because there's the mountains right next door, and the red dust always comes in. And it's right after lunch, and we're reading a chapter book together, and I'm the only one standing up, and we're like reading, and I literally I'm trying to stay awake reading this stupid book, and my kids are like, oh my God, Miss Jani. I'm like, okay, everybody, like, hold your eyeballs open. Like, we gotta finish what we're reading. And it's like, how are you supposed to give 2 hoots when you're battling all these things at once? Like a book that, we could say it matters and you need to be able to read, but it's too hot to be able to stay awake. I mean, it's kind of nuts.
There were a lot of days where it was like the biggest gift I could give on some days was just showing up. And that was hard for me to accept as an educator and as somebody who's always achieved and just like, I'm going to get that and I'm going to do this, I'm going to show these results. And there were times where it was like, I've had students write me on construction paper and like make things, and I made this for you, Miss Jani. And it's like, I look at it and I'm like, so why'd you make this? And it's like, well, you gave me a hug yesterday and I really needed that. And those are the moments for me in terms of understanding what triumph really is. Because I think that more often than not, there are days when just like waking up and like getting up and going to school or showing up, that's the biggest triumph right there, is to just get up and go do it again.
It's an incredible feeling when they get it. Like when someone has been struggling with reading, in 7th grade, you're reading at a 2nd grade level. And then through months and months of a lot of my students didn't like it, and I was like, you're gonna come in and read with me during lunch. Like, that's what we're doing. And making them do it and having them dislike me and moving through it. And then all of a sudden, when they have that moment of they read a 4th grade level book and they pass a test, or they're taking an exam in class and they do well, and they're proud of their own accomplishment, and they're saying, look what I did. Can I stop coming in during lunch now? over the last 6 years, I've had an opportunity to know 1,700 young people.
Wow.
You know, and I can't say I remember every single one's name off the top of my head, but if I saw them, I'm pretty sure I'd be like, oh my God, I totally remember you. You know, and that's the fulfilling part. It's powerful. And sometimes I don't, you know, there are kids where I wonder in my own head, like, I wonder where they must be. Like, I hope they're doing well. I hope they remember that one conversation we had when they were having that rough day. And there are times when it's just the hope that I move forward with, you know.
I think the adversity in my life has gotten me to where I am today, and it's only informed me as an educator. And it's actually what's shaped me to be where I am today. So I actually don't think adversity is all that bad at all. There's triumph all the time whenever there's adversity. So that's what I gotta say. All right.
If you or someone you know has a great story to tell, we'd love to hear it. Email us at thebridge@lightstyleonline.com. Follow me on Twitter at Paul E. Hendricks. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/thebridgelive.